Hi, this is your instructor, Mrs. Duncan. I'm just going to take you through a PowerPoint video on some different aspects of a worn path. And so let's start just a little bit with the author. Um, just has some information here, but we want to always kind of think about the author when we are reading a story, where they're coming from, what they're interested in. And we see that she lived in that area of Mississippi that is the general setting for our story, A Worn Path, which is set further, a little bit further north, than Jackson. Jackson's in the lower part of Mississippi, and the Natchez Trace is in the upper section. And her fiction, is about the South and about the people of the South, but they always have this sort of universal element to them. They're not just regional. They have something that applies or that all of us can connect to. And so we're going to look for that universal element in the story A Worn Path. It is the tale, the story of Phoenix Jackson, and she's the key character. As soon as you start reading, hopefully you already have, it's a long time in the story before there's even another character, and she's just going on a journey. We know she's on a path. It's called A Worn Path, through the woods of Mississippi, and we find it takes a little while before we find out, but she's there on that path to go to the town of Natchez to get medicine for her sick grandson. It just seems pretty simple, like going on a hike and running into, thorns and bushes and into somebody. But it's so much more than that, and there's a lot of things in the story that Eudora Welty includes to give us the idea and hint at the idea that this has greater meaning, and it's some mythic undertones and some things that aren't clear. And so as we look, we can actually use the archetype of a quest to kind of interpret her story. But we'll come back to that in a minute. Well, there's various obstacles, and those create conflicts. And remember our conflict video, most of the conflicts are with nature here at the beginning, and then she has some conflicts with, other people. She has internal, personal conflicts because she's not sure if she can make the journey. She has a lot of problems, physical problems. She can't see well, she can't walk well. And then there's the, obstacles in nature. It's ritualistic because it's repeated. It's something she has to do. It has significance. If she doesn't do this, her grandson is liable to die without the medicine. Matter of fact, the nurses think that maybe he already has died. So it's a life-saving journey. But why is she willing to take it? Why doesn't someone else take it? And what changes? Because there's something usually in journeys and quests that happen in the character, or they're revealed in the character. And typically, characters who take these important journeys are called heroes. And so Phoenix is the hero of the story for many reasons. One, of course, is she is saving her grandson every time, and she overcomes the obstacles. Another thing that's interesting here is the word and the name for our character, Phoenix. This is not just your average common name. And it has a very specific mythical meaning. And so because she was given a mythic bird name, then that helps add those mythic overtones. So let's explore that a little bit more. The phoenix is a bird in mythology that both in Western and Eastern mythology, it's a golden red flaming bird that lived for 500 years. And at the end of, so it seems immortal, but because it has this long lifespan, at the end of 500 years, builds this nest, and burns itself up, but that's the only way it can reproduce. And a young phoenix bird comes up out of the ashes. So it's the only way that it has this sort of life, death, immortality cycle, has to go through this cycle to be reborn. And so we look at that and go, wow, in what ways is this character, this old lady, this old black lady in the Great Depression in Mississippi, how is she like a phoenix? Is she not literally burned up to ashes? Well, so what about her, is like a phoenix? And it's one of the things that we look at as we look at that symbol and try to see how that hints at a theme. Questions that are uncertain that people tend to disagree about. Is the grandson actually alive or dead? Because at a point in the story, she can't recall. She stops and's like, I don't know. And then maybe, she hallucinates and she daydreams, and she, maybe she's going on this journey and she's kind of lost her mind, and That's troubling, and some people think that maybe the grandson is already died, and others that say no. There's the hope story. So, and she is kind of in between. She's on the cusp of the living and the dead. And if you think about that or reread the story, how many things she encounters that symbolize death, or just how close death is. The scarecrow, the ghosts, the images that she sees, how close she is to falling into death. She falls in a hole that literally could have been her grave if the hunter had not come by and rescued her. She would have been lost. She would have been stuck there, and she would have been vulnerable to the wild animals. So there's just all of that, we call it juxtaposition between the living and the dead, constantly going on. Okay, there's a lot of questions to ponder, but you only have to answer the ones in the discussion board. But these may help you, as you're trying to come up with your ideas for the next essay, which will focus on symbols. Yeah, right now you're working on your thematic explication, but your next essay, we're in a unit which starts looking at symbols as more significant way to interpret a story's themes. And so look at the ones that have to do with that. What kind of animals and birds does she encounter? And are they symbolic of anything? Are they significant? What are symbols of death? And this is, note the order in which she encounters them. There are symbols of death. What are the actual obstacles? When does she have a dream, and what does she dream of, and what might that mean? And what is the worn path itself a symbol of? So ponder these. I'm going to come back to another segment, but this is just to introduce, and it'll be the first little video we have on uh, on our thing, if I can get it to end here. Okay, we'll have another one shortly.